Hello and welcome to Dare2Own podcast, a Pan-African podcast committed to empowering working class and entrepreneurial Africans in Africa and in the diaspora to seize abundant wealth opportunities globally through education and coaching. The content pillars for the Dare2Own podcast includes real estate investing, business ownership, and financial freedom. My name is Stella Owechwe. I'll be your host, and our coach is Oladipupo Clement. Enjoy the conversation. Very extensive and very insightful background. But I like that as you were mentioning these different phases and growth processes in your business, it clearly showed that you made some mistakes.
Absolutely.
How were you able to learn from this mistake, recover very fast? Like, what were some of the supporting structure? Because I know that some of the experiences that entrepreneurs have is when they make a mistake, they just say, "Oh, it's not meant for me," and they just run back. They just leave it. So, how do they grow that resilience? What are those supportive structures that they need? Are there communities? Are there associations? Are there networks? Are there habits? Are there things that they can leverage just to avoid certain mistakes and maybe make fresh mistakes that everyone would be saying, "Oh, this is something that we're all learning from," but not repeating the same mistakes that other people have made?
All right. So, first and foremost, let me say this. In the journey of entrepreneurship, even in life in general, mistake is unavoidable. You can only minimize it. As long as you are taking steps, right? As long as you are making moves, you are bound to make mistake, right? So let's establish that. So mistakes is unavoidable. You can only minimize it. And the quicker you execute, the quicker you make mistake, and the faster you learn, and the faster you can stay ahead of your competition. Sometimes avoiding mistakes is the reason for is the reason a lot of businesses are hesitant. A lot of business owners and entrepreneurs are hesitant in executing. So they are slow in execution. And because you are slow in execution, you also be slow in making mistake. And because you are slow in making mistake, you'll be slow in learning. Because you are slow in learning, you also be slow. And so it's important. So in our own case, making those mistakes also helped. It helped in it was good that we even made some of those mistakes at those early stage. Why? Because it was too little risk, right? Don't forget, we didn't have anybody's money to say that is the money we are losing, and so there was no reputation risk. So we could still experiment, and there's a place for experimentation in every business where you want to have a proof of concept. You want to test. Listen, the best of ideas are not in the mind, they're in the market. They are tested in the market. They're not tested in the mind. You don't keep it in your notes and say you are testing the idea. No, you take it to the market, right? Until you take it to the market, and then you can do there's a small resolution, there's a smaller version of a big version. You can test the small version and see how it pans out. You may say it will not work, and it works. You may say it will work, and it won't work. So, but it's until you test it, you never can tell. You never can tell what you can achieve until you take a step. And that's pretty much, again, having a mentor, having a coach. This is where it becomes really, really important. And that is the only way you can minimize it, right? That's the only way you can minimize it, because you don't have to repeat the mistake of your mentor or mentors or coaches, right? And that's why I said that all the top performing sportsmen, investment bankers, hedge fund managers, CEOs across the globe all have coaches, executive coaches, right? They all have mentors. I mean, I wasn't surprised to know that Mark Zuckerberg is making this level of these strides largely because Bill Gates is his mentor, right? Bill Gates is his mentor. So you are a younger person, but who is older, who has traveled that journey before you, that can show you the ropes and tell you, no, don't go that way. No, no. And I enjoyed a lot of that. with my mentor, right? And of course, I had several other mentors along the way, who also guided me, who taught me. I read some people's books. I never met them in person. I attended some programs, some seminars. All of these things are the things that will help you to a very, very large extent to also be able to bounce back. Because when you hear other people's stories, it will encourage you to know that you have not even started. I was in a program one time, and the gentleman who was speaking said they did a transaction in Singapore and they lost $2 million. And our entire business at the time was not even up to it was not even up to $200,000. And somebody lost $2 million, and it's okay and it's all right. That alone was an encouragement to me. Dear, and he was smiling about it. Did you get? So after a couple of years, I started having mentees also in the industry and in other industries. And one of the gentlemen who was also under my mentorship reached out to me one time and lamenting about what they were dealing with in business and everything. So I was just smiling. So I said, should I give you part one, volume one of challenges? Which one are you ready for? And by the time we're done, the guy was encouraged. Sometimes when you are in trouble, it feels like you are the only one. It feels like the whole world is against you. But when you hear other people's story, it can lift your spirit. It can elevate your soul, right? It can boost your faith, and you can forge further, right? And especially because not only have you seen somebody who has gone through even worse things than yourself, but who has also pulled through, and then you can also glean from their wisdom. Because listen, if you say you are wise, who is your teacher? Who is your teacher? All right. So that's also part of the thing. So a lot of times people take advice from people who have not done what they are trying to do. People take advice from people who are just their friends, who will only sympathize with you, who will not necessarily offer you the wisdom to forge. If they have never experienced what you are going through, what would they be able to say? What would they be able to give you as an advice or recommendation? So that is pretty much what I would say on mistakes and experiences in business.
Fantastic. Um, would you be willing to share, say, maybe a mistake that, shook you and the organization to the bone and you were like, wow. And then looking back now, you've come out of it. You guys are great. Like it looked like it didn't happen, but at the time when it was happening, it looked like the wall was caving in. It looked like
Oh, God.
somebody needs to rescue us. So I don't know if you'll be willing to share so that people just know that people have gone through things and we will still go through things, but
Yeah.
we would always come out of it.
You want me to bring this out now? This is tough. And it is tough because we are still on the journey, but we are in a better place. And I'll tell you why. I'll share the story. I will tell you. I'll share it. Um, One of the greatest, sometimes it's with the benefit of hindsight, you think that, okay, this is the greatest challenge you have been through. But you have been through worse things in the past and you never knew how you were going to also come out, and you came out. This is why when I'm encouraging people, I say, see, has there been a situation in your life in time past where it's as though there was no way out and you didn't know what next to do, and you were deeply in dire need for divine intervention and support and to come out, and you came out? Is there anything in that past? Everybody has that story. Every human being has that story. It may not be business related, it may be family related, it may be health related, it may be financial, it may be academic, it may be related to academic, it may be anything else, right? And so everybody has similar that type of a story. In my own case in business, um, the one that shook me the most was about 3 or 4 years ago, right? And I've never been depressed in my life before. I never even knew what it means to be depressed. But this one got me to depression. The only thing that did not cross my mind was to commit suicide. That was the only thing that didn't cross my mind. I lost my sleep. I lost my sanity practically. I wasn't thinking straight anymore, right? You know the shocking thing? I was still encouraging a lot of other people. I was still even invited to speak in many places, and they thought I was normal. They didn't know that the person that was speaking to them needed help. And it was a very tough season for me. And what made it really tough for me was because if there's anybody who knows me, you know that I cherish my name more than anything else. I don't see, I would rather lose money than lose my name. So I will give everything else, not my name, not my, once my character is in question, or once there's a scenario, a circumstance that is beyond, that can bring disrepute to that name, that was the most depressing thing. If I lost money, I most certainly would not have been in that situation, or I would not have had such a feeling. Okay, and this is one of the most difficult. I never knew you were going to ask me this question, but I still need to provide this, and it was very draining for me. And I won't go into the details, but the details will come in my book, right? Later on. There's a book I'm working on for entrepreneurs. It's a master class. It's a masterpiece, rather. And I'm going to document everything, all my lessons, everything. I'm going to document it there. But one thing I can say is the lesson I learned: grow organically, don't be in a hurry. Business is long term, especially for the industry in which I play. Don't use short-term funds to finance long-term projects. When you hit a brick wall, nobody will understand you. And if you operate in an environment where you are not guaranteed anything, there's no bailout system, no insurance, and all of those things. Don't guarantee anybody anything. Anybody who is not ready to share the risk of that venture or that enterprise with you, don't risk them. Their money is not useful for your business. And it's one of the biggest lessons I've learned. And it also revealed three things for me. It revealed people. It revealed three kinds of people. Number one, it revealed me to me. I never knew I could break down. I never knew that I could feel nauseated when I see food. I was drying up like, as in, I was, too many things that was happening then that I, even right now, I'm not sure I can remember all the details, all the things that happened to me. But one thing I was aware of is that I could not sleep. My sleep left me completely. It will reveal you. You will know how much capacity you have. It will reveal you. You remember the Holy Book says that if you fail in the day of adversity, it is proof your strength is small. My strength, my capacity was tested. And what made it to affect me the most, and like I said, it was the fact that not fulfilling an obligation is the last thing ever I would never want to ever find myself in. If anything at all, give everything you have. Yeah, take it. Number two, it will reveal your friends. It will reveal your friends. Adversity will reveal your friends. It will reveal your friends. And then number three, it will reveal your enemies or frenemies. Enemies are the ones you already know. They are not packaging it. They are not hypocritical at all. I don't like you, and they don't hide it. But frenemies are those who get close enough to you so that they can have information they can use against you. Those are frenemies. And adversity will reveal that. Anybody you have called friend, it's in moments of adversity you will know who they really are. And I am privileged to have had support system within those period. And it also helped me to understand that, when people are going through things, I'm the last person who would go and say anything about those people. Even before this incident, I'm the last person, because you don't have the details. You don't know the details. And people who want to trend will always ride on common stories, popular stories, and all of that. And for me, that was the major one. So grow organically. Don't use short-term fund to finance long-term projects, to backfire, especially if you're in real estate. Grow organically. Grow your market share. Manufacture demand before you manufacture supply. Do you realize that at a point in our business, we received people, some people gave us funds, at the private level, and then their money starts to read before we even started the project. We are still sourcing for the project, but we have received money, and the money is already reading, and the return is guaranteed, whether the project came to life or not. So I could go on and on, but the details will be packaged in a book. What I can tell you categorically is, if you think you have integrity, adversity will also test your integrity. Adversity will test. The truest test of your integrity is adversity. And anybody who has ever been in similar situation before, they can know whether you are a person of integrity or not, because you will run. People who are not of integrity run away from their obligations. They run away from their responsibilities. They hide away from it, right? But if you are a person of integrity, adversity will come, and you know that the only thing you are trading with is your name. Okay, so till tomorrow, anything I do now with that caution. In fact, I'm allergic. It's a medical word. I'm now allergic to short-term funds for driving our business. Doesn't matter. It's not like we've received similar offers in the past, even when we were much younger, but we rejected it. But we got to a point where we saw opportunities and we felt, okay, we could seize these opportunities with those short-term funds. Listen, I can say this point blank. If care is not taken, some people are sitting on time bomb, because it's a major thing that, except there's part of the contract already signs some things to say, okay, sorry, in case this does not work, or this is what you will do. Do you understand what I'm saying? Except that. But I didn't do that. I gave personal guarantee in some instances. Do you get? So that, and how do you give personal guarantee if you are not a person of integrity, if you had the intention to fail? Do you get? So I've come to realize that it is, as long as it is juicy, as long as everything is working well, that everybody's happy with you, right? When it's no longer working, or working as expected, the language would change. My emotional intelligence was stretched within this season the most. This was the season it was stretched the most. When you receive insults, you are called names by, and you are wondering to yourself, I'm not a thief. If you see one, you won't even have the opportunity to be discussing with them. So they won't even be honoring your mails, honoring your calls. They won't even respond to anything. What kept me awake and what changed my life, right? Because we've gone far, really far now. God has been faithful, but we still have some things to do. But one of the things that happened to us, and this is, I'm just being vulnerable, I'm being honest and sincere here, right? Which is really part of my problem too. It was also part of my problem. Because I was honest, they took advantage of that, right? People took advantage of that. And I was being sincere to say, this is exactly what it is, right? I know that some of my team members, if they even hear this thing I'm sharing on the podcast, like, you for not do that kind of thing. Well, it will be out there as far as I'm concerned. You know why? And the things that helped me, and I'll tell you the things that helped me through this season. Number one was even that vulnerability, being vulnerable with my team, right? And then being vulnerable to the board and being open and to some of my friends and explain to them exactly what is going on and where we are and all of those things. That, for me, provided support. It was one of such moments. One of my friends said, "Are you not the one that teaches us not to focus on problem and focus on solution?" Then it occurred to me that, Ewa, no, that's true. What's going on here? So I remembered asking our finance team to generate the our list of assets, assets and then liabilities. When I saw the gap, what we had in assets was like 5 times or more of what we had. So the question was, where are we concentrating our focus? And where are we concentrating our energy? So we started saying, okay, let's sell more of this thing now. Let us focus energy on selling this thing to offset this thing now. So even if it meant selling it at a loss, which we were ready to do, we did. I'm telling you the truth. We sold many of the assets. We sold them at a loss. Looking back now, if it is to protect name, if I could even give it for free to have my peace back. It was during this period I knew the value of peace of mind. It is worth much more than money. I'm telling you the truth. Right. And it was difficult to explain to anybody. The more I explained, the more I tried to explain, the less they understood. So at a point, I stopped explaining myself. I stopped explaining because it appeared as though then I lost concentration of what matters. I realized that why don't you just focus on the things that will take care of this? Do you get it I'm making? And not this. So you want me to give you attention, but you still want me to pay. Let me pay attention to the things that will pay. Do you get it I'm making? And that was one of the things that shifted the game for me. And I'm in a clearer state of mind right now. Very clear state of mind, clear direction, clear strategy, and clear focus. Focus, as in focus that now I'm now in a state where, okay, bring it on. I'm ready for anything, right? This is not what we didn't start it today. We started this business by bootstrapping. Go and check how many businesses started 13 years ago that are still in existence. That started with even much money than we did, right? And that are still in existence. You know it has taken a lot from us. Years without pay. Years. And paying others. And at different points, trying to scale the business. It was until one day I was listening to Vusi Tembewayo, who said that on 2 different occasions he was going to lose his business, and those 2 occasions they attempted to grow their business. So sometimes growth can kill a business. Those seasons of growth can kill a business, and the reasons for those dynamics is because you probably bring in new people into the system who have not yet absorbed the culture, the philosophy, and usually they are more difficult to incorporate if they did not grow within the system from the get-go. So sometimes these are some of the things that can kill a business. But we are grateful to God, to be honest with you, in all of these things. And I must say that, yes, none of these experiences were palatable, but it also helped us to know who our real friends are. And even those who were very brutal and whatever, I don't have anything against them. It was just, God can use anything to teach you a lesson that you need to teach, to learn. And I've learned my lessons. I've made my decisions, and the world is waiting to hear some other new things that we have not even announced at all. And some things that I now know, if I never went through that, some things I now do, if I never went through that, there's no way we'll be thinking this dimension. So we are grateful for it. Like my mentor would say, it was not a loss, it was school fees. So we have paid our school fees, we have paid our dues.
Wow. So, hearing you talk about this experience brought something up about the the place of risk taking in business.
Mm.
So I know that every time we talk about risk or risk taking, where we think about is when it comes to investments, finances, know your risk appetite.
Mhm.
Does this, I believe this also applies to business.
Mhm.
And how does it apply to business? Is it possible that a person on their own is a calculated risk taker, and then when it comes to business, the person has a different appetite for risk in businesses? I don't know if you would like to speak to that.
Okay, so the risk appetite, the risk profile of the business owner is not exactly the risk profile of the investors. So if you use the risk profile of the investor to make investment decisions on behalf of the investors, you will run into problems. You get a point, right? So yeah, so that's pretty much what it is. So till tomorrow, my risk appetite is very, very aggressive. I don't I don't do small things. I'm not looking for cheap, because risk and reward go hand in hand. They are Siamese twins, right? You can't have reward or returns and then ignore the risk, and you can't have risk and then ignore the reward. So they go hand in hand. And I know the higher the risk, the higher the reward. So the question is, the whoever you are partnering with that is bringing in money or bringing in equity, sweat equity or whatever, do they share in your do they have similar risk profile? I think that is usually where we miss out. We miss it most of the time. So that's why for me, I believe more in organic growth. Grow slowly, slow growth, but it's surer than fast growth that can diminish. You can fizzle out, evaporate into thin air. Beware when everybody is running after you. Be careful, especially if it is be careful when everything is rushing towards you, everything is benefiting from you. Be careful. Be careful.
So another thing that comes to mind, very soon we'll be going straight into business and speaking to a lot of people who are multi-potentialized and they have so many business ideas, and they're saying, which one should I start? Is there an assessment I should take to know which one to start, which one
Mm.
to start first, which one to start later? But I think something equally important, that two things that I want us to talk about before going into that, is a lot of people who are going to start businesses or who are in businesses might be married already or would be married.
Mm.
And there's a need to also pay attention to your family, because you don't want to build your business at the detriment of losing your family.
Mm.
I know that sometimes for entrepreneurs or for business owners or high flying C-suite persons, work life balance might be a myth.
It is.
So I want you to speak to this about how do you run your family successfully as much as you are running your business, so that you don't trade off anyone. How do you sort of strike a balance? Where do you make compromises?
You can't gain balance. Let's forget about balance. There's nothing called all those work-life balance is a myth. It's not like it is a myth. It is a myth. It does not exist. Right? So you see, the rule is quality time at home, quantity time at work. Okay. And those who have looked at their life and looked at their personality and said, come, it will not work. So they didn't marry. There are people who are not married at all. They are married to their business. And the reason for that, some people are even married to their ministry, right? The ministry has taken them away from family. married to their business, taking them away from everybody else. So I don't want to go into some controversial statements right now because it does not apply to me. It applies to other people. And I don't want to be bringing other people's names, especially those who are already in the limelight. I don't want to begin to bring their names up here. But there are entrepreneurs, big time business people, who you won't hear Mrs. So and so attached to them. They don't post anything that has to do with their spouse. Some of them may even post their children, but you won't hear anything about their spouses, right? It's largely because it was not at the beginning of their relationship. So quality time at home, quantity time at work is my philosophy, and that's the way I approach it, right? The business, the ministry, the enterprise, the career would suck life out of you, right? But you also do not want to get to a point where you end up building such a successful career or business, and then you don't have a family to share it with. Okay, so and that's why quality time, so that whenever you are home, you are present, fully present. And when you are not at home, everybody knows that daddy is busy. Oh, uh, the husband is busy or the wife is busy. Okay, so that's extremely important. But to think that you will balance it out, you either take this, and that's why for women who are really doing well in their businesses or career, if you check it, they either have a supportive spouse. The same thing for men. If you have it all together, it is because you have a supportive spouse. It's because you have a spouse that is holding the home front for you, right? But you have to compensate for it from time to time, either through vacations or through whatever. And then communication. Communicate and communicate. Communicate and communicate. I travel a lot. I do a lot of trips. I'm a workaholic, like I said. So I don't even have any fun thing that I do, that I can say, okay, I go for relaxation. Even when I go on vacation, I go with work. Do you understand what I'm talking about? So, but it's something I'm trying to find a balance to. I'm still working on it. I'm getting better by the day, right? Um, and maybe because of my own unique personality. So essentially, it's to find what works for you, and then ensuring that you communicate with your spouse and your children, right? So, but the fundamental principle I use is work, quality time at home, quantity time at work.
So my next question will be talking about the entrepreneur himself or herself, because it's very possible that you're just going after the business and then you're not taking care of yourself.
Absolutely.
How should an entrepreneur take care of themselves? Right now, I'm not just talking about burnout, and yeah, that's part of it, but wholesomely. Because if you're a better version, then your business will be a better version. So I want to talk
Absolutely.
about wholesome transformation, maybe taking retreats from time to time. How do you
Mhm.
think that entrepreneurs can really take care of themselves, bodily, physically, spiritually? I just want to touch on those aspects based on what you have done that works for you or what you have seen that works for other people, so people can have like a hybrid of different strategies.
Yeah, I mean, you are the most important critical success factor in the enterprise. If it must be, it's up to you. One of the earliest books I read before we launched out into our business was What Rich People Know and Desperately Keep Secret. I love that book so much and I recommend it highly. It comes in highly recommended for any entrepreneur who is already in business or who is looking to start a business. If you're a busy executive, C-suite executive, then go read that book. It will transform your life, to transform your enterprise. Um, the book is broken into 4 parts. The first part is you, about you. That alone is a masterpiece, right? The next one is your people. The third one is your systems. And then the last one, I think, is your marketing. Those and each section of the book focus on different things. But because we're talking about you are the most important critical success factor. And if you are not healthy, if you are not in good shape, like I told you, during those period, we took a lot of rash decisions that when we, and I think about them, I said, no, we shouldn't have done that at that time. This is how we should have addressed it. If you don't, if you lose your sanity, if you're mentally disillusioned, destabilized, if you are physically ill, I mean, the only thing that God gave me during, God gave me a lot of things, but one of the things that God gave me then was I still had my health. Even though I was losing sleep, I was still healthy. If I was admitted in the hospital, who would I be attending to? There's no way I can attend to anybody. And there are people who are in that situation right now, who have lost their physical health, who have lost their mind, who have lost their they don't even hear God, they don't even hear themselves, let alone hear anybody. Right. So you want to pay attention on your spirit, soul, and body, right? So periodic retreat is very important. I remembered in 2005, I think it was around November or so, when I went to see my mentor about, the fact that I was feeling overwhelmed. And he said to me then that if a generator is jerking, what could be the reason for that? I said, it's too much load now, or it's too much load. If it's jerking, when the generator is jerking, it's too much load now. I said, okay, so does it require more fuel? I said, no. He said, does it require more engine oil? I said, no. He said, so what does it require? I said, so that we get a bigger generator with higher capacity, or we reduce the load on the. He said, okay, go and increase your capacity. That was what he said to me. Go and increase your capacity. He said, if you notice that you're always feeling tired, you're always feeling, you do small work, you are tired. Small work tired, you need rest. You need rest. Just shut down for maybe 24 hours to 72 hours. You'll be back to it's just all you do within that period. He said every retreat is not prayer. Every retreat is not study of, is to rest. He said, just eat, sleep, wake up, watch TV, eat, sleep, watch TV. So if that's what you notice. Number two, he said, if you notice that things happen before you notice, things happen to you like it happens to everybody. You don't sense anything, that means you are spiritually not alert. Then take time off, take a bottle of water, take a piece of paper, your Bible, enter one room, lock yourself there 3 days. Say you'll be seeing, you know what is going to happen. You start hearing voices, all right? And then he said, if you notice that you are always making wrong, faulty decisions, the decisions are not backed by data, not backed by research, not backed by, said then study people who are doing those things. So that has become my formula. And today I'm carrying way, way more than I was carrying then. And as my life evolves, right, I keep making adjustment to my structure, because the structure you operated with when you were running one business location is not the same structure that will support it when it becomes two. It's not the same structure when you are running a national business that you will use when you are running an international business. You have to alter that structure. It's not the same structure you will use as a person, that when you are married, that you will use when you get married. You need a new structure. If you are going to, every time you need to add a new load, you need to review your structure to accommodate the new assignment or the new responsibility. And that's pretty much the way every entrepreneur needs to approach it. I don't know if that answers the question.
It does perfectly. It does. And I like how you brought the issue of structure. But we'll deal with that much more later, talking to people about minimum structure they need to set up in their business and all. But now we really want to talk about business. And I trust that the viewers have gotten so much value and insight on all the conversations that we've had so far. I mean, if you made it to this point, then it definitely means that you are getting value. So now this is me coming as a newbie who's about to start a business, or who has been thinking about business. Maybe I have worked for a while and I want to pivot into business, or I want to transition into the business space as an entrepreneur. Like, the spirit of entrepreneurship has been calling me. So I'm ready to answer. So what are the first things that I need to settle? How do I prepare the ground? How do I know that this is this is it? I am ready to start. And now that I'm ready to start, I would have numerous skills, numerous business ideas. How do I know which one to pick first? Because all of them look good. All of them might look very profitable and all, but it's just beyond profitability. And sometimes it's beyond my skills. What are the other factors that I need to consider before going into a particular line of business?
All right. So I believe that you want me to talk about viability analysis. So to determine which of your business you should prioritize first. And this lesson that I'm about to share is something that if I knew before we launched, most likely would have been 10 times or 100 times what we are today. But fundamentally, let me just say this, because it's also important. Because the reason why some people have not even taken the first step, which is usually the most difficult step, is because they're waiting for perfect condition. So you must understand this as an entrepreneur or as an employee who's looking to start a business. Understand this, right? We don't wait for perfect conditions. We perfect conditions as we progress. Understand that one. It's very important you have that at the back of your mind. And we don't also attract, we don't start with what we don't have. We start with what we have to get what we don't have. That's why we often say that it is not what you don't have that hinders you. It is what you already have, but don't know how to use. That's pretty much what hinders you. So that's very, very important. Now, having said that, most entrepreneurs are opportunity tourists, and we are incurable optimists. So a typical, a regular, average entrepreneur is always shopping for opportunities. It's always recognizing, there's something to do here. Every time they see complaints, the way journalists sniff news, that's the way entrepreneurs sniff opportunities. And because of that, you have a lot of things that you are thinking you want to do, you want to start at the same time. And if care is not taken, you realize that all of them are not really aligned. And you may even give so much attention and focus to the things that is not really moving the needle or adding to the bottom line of the business. And that is even stressing out the team, because part of the structured thing that we talked about earlier, it's not just about you alone anymore. It's also about the people, that are working with you, your team. You also have to factor that into, so that if you need to set up a new team, it's something you may need to begin to consider for the new assignment or for the new task or for the new arm of the business or whatever. Do you get it? Otherwise, you will say these people are not performing, these people don't have capacity. It's you that did not, you want to use this old structure to drive new opportunities. So it's important to have all of this at the back of the mind. Now, once you start to succeed at a thing, what now begins to happen, apart from the fact that you yourself begin to sniff opportunities and begin to recognize opportunities, what you now begin to understand and begin to see is that people begin to throw different opportunities at you. Some of them you will respect, some of them you honor, and you might not want to reject or turn them down. If you take them through the viability analysis template, it will guide you in determining which of these businesses is even suited for us. Like I said, I didn't know this when we felt really frustrated and drained at the beginning. But when I took time out, I only answered 3 questions. But I have developed 9 questions that you can ask, to determine which of your business ideas or product ideas is worth pursuing. All right. And then determine whether or not, you can't start everything together. Every conglomerate did not begin as a conglomerate. They started one at a time, right? Growth is one at a time, one business or one product at a time, all right? It's not everything at the same time. Okay, businesses that run everything simultaneously have grown the capacity and the manpower to drive all at the same time. If you don't have that, if it will still require you or your team, a few of your team alone, then you need to do it at a time. So you need to face growth. And to face growth, you need to know which one to begin with so that one will be the cash cow that will start the next. And then the two will start the next. So company A, right, will start company B, and company A plus B will start company C, and company A plus B plus C will start. And then the same thing applies for products, right? Product A will start product B, and product A plus B will start product C, and product A plus B plus C will start product D, and on and on, all right? And so it's important to find which one. So there are a list of 9 questions that we develop. I don't know if you want me to talk about it. I should go
Yes,
ahead and
please. Yes, yes, yes.
okay. So the first thing, I have it in my book, just before you start that business, and it's also it's updated in my new book that is coming that will carry all the stories, all my business stories, all my journeys in business is going to carry. It's going to carry the life page stories, a lot of life page stories. But it's also in my Winning in Business course. So if you don't have a copy of that course, you may want to get it. It's captured. I explained it, and then if you subscribe for that course, you also get the business the viability analysis template, right? So, but if you can lay hands on this book, you'll find it in page 23. So you essentially want to rate the business on a scale of 1 to 5, and rating them on a scale of 1 to 5, what you're essentially doing is the 1 is poor, 1 is poor, 2 is fair, 3 is satisfactory, 4 is very good, 5 is excellent. All right. So that's how you rate. So you list out all the businesses you intend to do, all the products you want to launch, all the product ideas or concept. Usually it is at the idea stage you're putting all this together. You want to carry out this analysis, right? And then you ask the following questions. So let me just read them out, because as soon as you were going to ask that question, I said, let me pick it, let me see it. Now I can say them verbatim, but I just need to say this in this way so that everything will be well organized. Number 1, you want to ask yourself, which of this business is cheapest for you to start? Which of these businesses or product is cheapest for you to start? All right. You want to start with low-hanging fruits, the one that provides you the biggest leverage, the biggest advantage. You don't have to start with your money in most cases. So you can start with supplier finance. We call it sales on return. You can start with all sorts. So you can start with arbitrage, right? Connecting buyer to seller. All right. Those are, so which one is cheapest for you to start? This speaks to availability of funds. All right. Availability of funds. And it's not about capital, it's about leverage, essentially. All right. Number 2 is which one has ready market. All right. Right. One of the biggest mistakes we make in business is and we have made that mistake time and again in business, especially in the past, right? Is we create product and then start looking for customers. Whereas you're supposed to look for customers and then design the product to suit them. Okay. So one of the proof that you are in business is ready market, hungry market, and then the product that quenches that hunger, right? Not the other way around. So this talks about availability of market. Is there demand for this product or this service that you want to render? And that's why I said you don't test the idea in your mind, you test it in the market to know whether there is demand, right? So that you won't go and pour your soul and pour your time. You see, whatever business or product you want to launch, it is better clear than clever. Sometimes in trying to launch something novel, You confuse yourself, confuse your team, confuse everybody. And then a lot of manpower has gone into it. And these are the things that drains you. So you have nothing left with which you can then drive the thing that is already producing. All right. So that's why you need to evaluate that. So essentially, each question that you are asking, you answer it for each of those products on a scale of 1 to 5. So, and you have to be very honest. So answer it on the scale of 1 to 5. Number 3 is which one would require little time and has the highest level of stress? Which one will require little time, or which one would have the highest level of stress? Sometimes a business will not take much of your time and will not does not have too much stress on you. I was still with a friend this last weekend, and he was saying to me he's thinking of going to buying dilapidated buildings, refurbish and sell it. He said because that will reduce his blood pressure. That will reduce his stress because he said many of his staff are stealing from him, right? I mean, he runs retail outlets and all of those things. So he said they are stealing seriously from him. He said, so if he's not on ground, I said, even if you're on ground, they can be stealing you gone without you knowing. So you want to ask yourself, which of these businesses will always demand you to run, right? Is there mobility? Can you run it globally? Is it something you'll be able to, that is it something that will tie you down to one location, right? And all of this. You need to answer those very important questions. This talks about ease of implementation. Some businesses are hard to start. They are difficult to start and difficult to run also. The demand, the stress that comes with running it is huge, right? So, but that depends on you. So answer the question, right? On the scale of 1 to 5. Number 4, which one is most profitable? I mean, we all start businesses with the intention to make profit, right? So which one is most profitable? Which one will take less from you yet give you more, right? So that it is not the other way around. So that you're not giving more and you're getting less. Okay. I always like to put it this way. Every time you're running a business, any business you want to run, ask yourself which one is giving you your best leverage? Which one is giving you leverage? Leverage to sharpen your own opportunities, leverage to connect you to your market. Do you get it? All of these things are very, very important. So this talks about profitability. So you are scaling, you are rating or ranking each of those product ideas or business ideas in the light of this. Number 5 is which one has the lowest risk? All right. So which one has the lowest risk? So now this talks about risk exposure, right? Now it's important to evaluate your business or your product, whatever it is that you want to launch, right? That's why you see there are some industries that only a few players are there because of the risk exposure. Look at cement production. Look at refinery. The risk exposure is huge, and the financial might required also is huge. So the question is, you should be asking yourself, those critical questions are important. It's not the same thing. It's not the same risk that you are exposed to if you are running a laundromat, a laundry center. It's not the same thing. No matter the scale of the business you are trying to run, you are not running the same risk. So evaluate the risk exposure on a scale of 1 to 5. And to just put context, to just give you a context, the product or business with the lowest risk will have the highest ranking, right? And the one with the highest risk will have the lowest ranking, right? So that's very, very important. Number 6, which one is so important to the government? All right, which of your business ideas or product ideas is currently getting priority attention, right, in the current budget of your state or country? Okay, government is the highest spender, so it's important to know the relationship between the business ideas or whatever it is you want to pursue in the light of what government is also spending money on. This speaks to government priority. Okay, so you want to rank your business in that light also. And then number Number 7, for which of these businesses are you adequately trained, experienced, and prepared for? This is extremely important. This talks about availability of skill. Okay. So you want to rank it also on 1 to 5. Availability of skill. You can never succeed in anything you are not trained, gifted, or anointed for. All right. So you want to evaluate that. So it may be a profitable business. It may not require too much of your time, may not require too much of your, it may not bring you too much stress. But if you are not competent, if you are not skilled in that area, forget it. You won't succeed. So it's important to also evaluate it. You see, anybody can deceive anybody, but don't deceive yourself. So when ranking, make sure you are ranking honestly and truthfully. Otherwise, whatever result you get will be misleading. So it's very important. And then, and then number 8. The number 8 is okay. It's there are 9. So it's the volume that has increased. So there's also the strategic fit. All right, to think about your personal, your temperament. There are people who are extroverted. Certain industries will not fit into them, right? Some people are introverted. Certain you will never succeed in certain. So you want to find out which one aligns with your personality type, with your temperament, with the kind of person you are. There are spaces that you cannot operate, and then there are spaces you can operate, but you are not going to be at the forefront. You may need to have other people who will be at the forefront, right? That's why you find co-founders and founders in some instances, where somebody is the one in the front end, and another person is in the back end. Sometimes the visionary is not even the one that is known, right? It happens even with ministry. Sometimes it is the woman that started the ministry, but it is the man everybody celebrating. Sometimes it is the man that starts the ministry, but it is the woman everybody celebrating. So you want to look at your strategic fit. And then the number 9 is sixth sense. All right. And that is, now you have done all. What is giving peace is the umpire of the soul. So you want to check within your own spirit what one to go. And it's important to know to do that. So if you are not spiritually mature, you don't run, because there are many things you will not know by your head. You only know it by your heart. And so it's important to evaluate that. So you rank it in this manner, 1 to 5, and then you'll be able to then sum up the numbers for each product or business idea. The one with the highest score is the one you should begin with, right? The one with the highest score is the one you should begin with. And then the one with the lowest, so the next one, the next higher, the next one, and on and on. So if the product A will start product B, right? Product B can then on and on like that. So sometimes it may be your C that will be the first one to begin with because it has the highest. And the one that is A will be the last one to consider, right? So that's pretty much the way it is. In some instance, for some people, you may need to abandon everything else completely and focus on this. And what I normally recommend is that you space it. You can say every 3 years or every 5 years, we'll now start this new one. And then 2 things I recommend is either you have built this first one so well, the system, everything can run on its own, and then you can put there's SOP, there's everything, system, everything to support, and there's enough resources. The business is doing well. You can hand it over to somebody else with guidelines, and then just send you a report, and then you go be the one to start the next one. Or every new one you want to start, you launch into it. So let me share my own. What I now found out, because I've tried many things that did not work. So I thought that I could stay in my lane, and then I'll be handing over, starting new things, and then ask other people to run it. But I realized a few years back that it wasn't working. And any business you are starting that depends on other people for it to run. The day they leave, the business collapses. And I have experienced experiences. So when your business is premised on the skill of others, the day that skill leaves, your business don't collapse. It doesn't matter how much you have invested in that business. And then, sometimes they will even go with all those stories and those experiences. So my approach now is I stay in my lane. And if you have started anything and you are interested in people partnering with you, I have a lot of sense and I have a lot of contacts. I have a lot of opportunities, network that I can bring into your business. But I don't have to be the one running it, but it's your vision. I'm ready to collaborate with you. Even if it is 10%, I can own a part of it. You run the business, you do anything. Whatever I can bring to help the business grow, I'm ready to bring it. If it is contact, because sometimes contact is way worth more than money. A lot of people overprice money. Money will finish. Yoruba people will say, "Owo ma tan, eniyan lo ma ku," right? Money will finish. There will still be people. So if you have a connect in your business, anything you need, they know the button to press. You don't have an idea. That's a bigger capital than money. So I'd rather give such a person 10% or 20% in my business who gets me doing and all of those things. So that is the kind of thing that and then if it is to just put money down and then let it be running, those are the kind of things I'm now interested in. By staying my lane. My lane is where I am right now.